All right, let's talk about Caleb Williams. Not what you wanted, right? We'll talk about the positives. This did get off to a great start. He started off 10 for 10, and then things just got a little underwhelming, but it still felt like they were going to win. And then it all went to hell in the fourth quarter. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's just get into it. Let's start off with this play, a very fun play. So it's going to be a designed rollout towards the bottom of the screen. You run the play action towards the top of the screen. He goes towards the bottom of the screen. This is what, Ben Johnson likes to do, even with Jared Goff, who wasn't a very mobile quarterback. He was still constantly moving him around. So Caleb Williams takes a snap, runs the play action, but oh no, there is pressure right off the edge. A edge rusher for the Vikings completely reads this. This is actually really clever, and I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but what are you expecting Caleb Williams to do? Well, step up into the pocket, of course, right? Because your tight end is kind of more towards the right side of the screen, so if you go in that direction, he can help you block that way. So watch how Williams steps backwards, which completely fools that edge rusher and allows him to have some space. This is the other really clever part of this play. He looks back and notices that the halfback, who again, that's who he faked the play to. The halfback is purely just a decoy on this play. He thinks his job is done at this point, but he looks, Williams looks at the halfback looks at Williams, and they say, well, okay, let's try something. Williams is going to throw it over there, and they're able to pick up a first down. I mean, that's making something out of nothing, right? That should have been a sack all day, and instead, it's a big completion. I mean, that's good stuff there by Caleb Williams. Also, this next play, this is going to be a 3rd down and 5. It is man coverage across the board here for the Minnesota Vikings, and so watch what happens on this one. Williams is going to, he takes the snap, he looks around, doesn't love what he sees, says, hey, it's man coverage, maybe I can scramble for it, but the Vikings are being aware of that. They're prepared for this, not going to let him be able to rush for this first down, but he keeps his eyes downfield, and again, look at this throw from Caleb Williams. I mean, man, that's good stuff, isn't it? I mean, to be able to fully sprinting, I mean, he wasn't even, maybe not full sprinting, but he wasn't jogging either. Like, he was running to be able to get the ball over there, throw a perfect strike. I mean, that's good. This is first overall pick stuff, right? We also saw his athleticism in other ways. Again, I think last year, a lot of times we saw his athleticism running backwards and then taking really bad sacks. We're seeing it in positive ways here. So this one, it's, look at the interior defensive lineman who I've circled for Minnesota. He's going to do a really good job on this play. Watch how when it begins, quick, pressure right off the bat. Caleb Williams in trouble on a 2nd down and 10. If you take a sack here, this drive is basically over, and there's no room for him to go, right? What can he do? Well, look at this sidestep and then able to step forward, and you're seeing him use his athleticism to run forward now in 2025 and picks up a first down instead of getting sacked. I mean, that is really impressive stuff by Caleb Williams and really valuable stuff. Again, that's almost like a turnover in many ways, like in a positive way of like the play didn't look like it was going to happen, and then all of a sudden it does happen. I mean, that's impressive stuff by Caleb Williams. Speaking of turnovers, though, let's go to the turnover on downs. Definitely a chance to stick a dagger early on in this game that they weren't able to capitalize on. And this really wasn't Caleb Williams' fault, I don't think. 4th down and 3, DJ Moore going over the middle, obviously, Ben Johnson from the Dan Campbell coaching tree, going to want to go for it. Williams takes the snap, and as of right here, you have DJ Moore, who is, again, about to cut over the middle, and it's going to be open. It really is. But you see Williams' throw, it's more out in front than Moore ran. Really, I think for Moore, you do have to flatten out that route. It's so open. Like, you have that opportunity. I think that's what Williams was expecting. Instead, he doesn't. DJ Moore and Caleb Williams had trouble being on the same page last year. Seeing it again here on a key spot, that would have been 1st and goal inside the 10 if they just were on the same page and made that play work. The offense definitely did cool off in the second half. I mean, I guess really after that first touchdown, they had the other drive where they got close to being able to score and weren't quite able to punch it in. One issue was just this play. You see penalties, too many false start penalties. That was an issue. They have to work on that. Also, this sequence here, this is starting the 3rd quarter. They're only up 4 points at this point. First, you see Caleb Williams do a nice job at scanning the field. He is going to ultimately throw a check down, but misses it a little bit. We did see some slight inaccuracies. Nothing like missing the broadside of a barn, but like balls that you would like to have a little bit further in one direction or the other. So now, okay, it's second down and 10. Okay, no worries. Still plenty of room, plenty of time to make something work. Well, as you see, Caleb Williams is going to run this play action, and you're going to see him scan the field again. What's interesting is, so live, this doesn't seem like really that big of a deal. Troy Aikman said that apparently there was a receiver who was open over the middle. They never showed an angle. That's Troy Aikman. I don't know if it's true, but if it is true, that's not ideal. I don't know why Troy Aikman would lie about that, so it's probably true. And then on 3rd and 10, him and his receiver JKS not on the same page, and that kept happening. Of a guy, running one route, he's looking elsewhere and throwing it differently. So gotta clean that stuff up. We would see some really impressive stuff from Caleb Williams this play. So this is going to be a situation where very quickly into this play, there is not a great situation for Caleb Williams. It's second down and 6. Pressure right in his face. But watch just the speed to be able to outrun multiple Minnesota players, turn what could have been a 3rd and long into a first down. That's a really impressive play from Caleb Williams. So you see that stuff and you're like, hey, this running game is working. I mean, he's someone who has had some issues with that stuff over the course of his career. He would have another one of those plays heading over here later on in the drive. You're thinking like, hey, he's done good with this. Well, this one not so much. So you see, again, pressure going to get pretty straight to him. Okay, no worries. He's going to scramble and do what Caleb Williams has been doing all game. Well, here, this time, he looks like he actually had a running lane, but decided to go elsewhere and just ends up I can't tell if he tripped over nothing. I think he tripped over his own offensive lineman's foot is what it looked like to me, which is, unfortunate. He then tries to throw it and gets a grounding penalty on top of it. Honestly, he could have gotten back up maybe. I mean, definitely, I don't know. It's tough, right, in that situation, but yeah, not an ideal play there. But, even after that, they were still feeling okay. They got back in field goal range, but then they missed the field goal. And listen, if they didn't have this play, maybe they're able to have an easier field goal. The Vikings marched down the field and scored a touchdown. And then this play, okay, it's 1st and 10. Like, let's see what the Bears can do to try and maybe get a long drive here, get a field goal to make it an 8-point game, maybe a touchdown to just ice the game altogether. Well, one play in, you're gonna see quick pressure. Caleb Williams takes a sack, kind of nothing really he could do there. They had to go 3 and out, gave the ball right back to the Minnesota Vikings. It's not what you want at all here in the 4th quarter. Caleb Williams did make this nice throw on a 2nd and 14, had a chance to get them in field goal range. Adunze just can't quite come up with that grab. Would have been a tough catch, right, for sure. But, there was at least some flashes here. Although he followed up on a 3rd and 14 with this play, which I don't know what happens here. It's 3rd and 14. Like, if you gain 7 yards or so, you can consider going for it, given where you are on the field, and honestly, given the way the game is going. But you see, Caleb Williams takes the snap, and I think he just completely whiffed on this. I mean, definitely not throwing it away there. There's no miscommunication. What else could Cole Kmet be doing? I have no idea what happens there, but that was a wide open player. You could have gained at least 7 yards. Maybe he breaks a tackle and gets the first down. We'll never know. Just a bad play. They did have a nice drive for the touchdown there. I thought Caleb Williams did some really nice stuff actually in this final drive. Not only scoring, but scoring quickly to allow them to still have the 2-minute warning to play with and their timeout. So all that stuff was good, right? But yeah, ultimately just it was too little, too late. Very very deflating loss for the Chicago Bears, a game that looked like everything was going perfect, and then it looked like, okay, so maybe not everything going perfect, but still a win is a win, and then it wasn't even that. Tough loss, but, I guess the one saving grace, I will bring up the Aaron Rodgers game, the Khalil Mack first start, when everything looked amazing for the Chicago Bears. Then Aaron Rodgers gets, hopped up on painkillers. He comes in. He ends up with the comeback at the end. The Bears would ultimately win 12 games and get to the playoffs. Week 1, even a deflating Week 1 loss, does not guarantee that your season is over. It's a long season. But yeah, definitely disappointing. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.